Let's welcome back to the show the ranking member of Senate Judiciary. He is Senator Chuck Grassley. It's a pleasure to see you again, Senator. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. Senator, what do you make of these new reports that Senate Democrats now plan to counter House GOP probes into Hunter Biden with probes into big tech's role in disinformation and Twitter under Elon Musk? What do you think?
Well, obviously, they're very embarrassed with what Elon Musk has made public. And isn't it a breath of fresh air for Washington to be caught thinking that they're going to keep everything secret, and then somebody like Elon Musk comes along and makes all this stuff public, showing how they are violating free speech rights, how they're getting private business to help them. So they want to have these hearings you're asking me about to kind of take attention away from what he's doing, this transparency that he's bringing about, showing how people were conspiring to influence the last election. And you know the stuff that I've said about political bias of the FBI. This is just another example of their political bias, working with people at Twitter to keep the Hunter Biden stuff off the press or off of the public's mind and not even make it public until well after the election. Even when I was investigating it at that very time, we didn't get anything from the press that Johnson and I had exposed about Hunter Biden. And then the New York Post gets it, and it can't even get on Twitter and Facebook like it's supposed to. In other words, just consider the people of the United States of America smart enough to listen to everything and make up their own decision.
You know, Senator, to your point, Twitter's former CEO Jack Dorsey now admits that Twitter workers ultimately had too much power to manipulate content on Twitter. But the Twitter files show he was part of an internal senior group at Twitter that was putting their thumb on the scale for Democrats and Joe Biden, hiring former FBI workers, censoring conservatives. So the question is, why didn't Dorsey release the Twitter files before Musk bought Twitter?
Well, obviously, he was part of the conspiracy, and you're head of a corporation. Either you run the corporation or the corporation runs you. And if he didn't know anything about it, and I don't believe he did know anything about it, but if he didn't, he should have.
You know, the Twitter files show the FBI meeting with Twitter on a weekly basis before the 2020 election, along with the Office of the Director of National Security and Homeland Security. So were you surprised to hear that they were running defense for Joe Biden and the Biden family, cashing in on Biden's government job? They were reportedly debriefing Twitter executives that Hunter Biden would be the target of a hack and leak operation when the FBI had possession of the Hunter Biden laptop nearly a year before, months before the New York Post story. It raises questions to whether the FBI actively sought to undercut and discredit information they had already authenticated.
Yeah. Well, remember one thing, Johnson and I put out a report a month before the Post story about Hunter Biden. But getting back to what you're asking me about, it just proves the political bias and how integrated it was. So you're asking me, am I surprised? I shouldn't probably be surprised, but I'm surprised that they did it in such a sophisticated way of regular meetings and actually talking to each other, you know, as opposed to using an intermediary. So it shouldn't be found out. That's how brazen they thought their actions could be, that they'd never be caught. So thank God for people like Elon Musk.
It's good to see you, Senator. We love having you on. Always have such admiration for you. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Come back soon.